Hiya! Welcome! I'm in my seated position today, which can only mean one thing. I've got a big old box set to show you, and here it is, delivered today via DHL from those lovely people, I'm assuming they're lovely, I've never really talked to them, at Townsend Music, which for those who don't know, and there can't be many of you certainly who are within the United Kingdom, they're one of the premier online record stores here in Britain. Right then, so we've got a big old box here. It's a box set that's recently come out. It's arrived a few days later than what I was expecting. I did allude to it on my last Records Roundup video. I said I'm sure it's on its way, and I was right. Doesn't matter that it was late. The main thing is it's come. I didn't need to chase it up or anything. I've already pre-opened the box. It was just a case of making one slit along this fragile tape, and I think I should be able to get into it fairly safely here. It's quite big and cumbersome, as you would expect a box full of records to be. So hopefully I don't create too much carnage here. The price of this, I think it was around £120. Oh, and we might have a box within a box here. So I'm glad I kept my knife handy, because I think there will be some more box cutting to do. Oh no, this box is already opened, so that's good. Right, just chuck all this rubbish out of the way, and let's get into this. Very well packaged. Oh, this is a set that, when I saw it, it was kind of an impulsive thing, but I thought I had to have it. Even though I've not really collected anything by this band, probably ever, apart from I did have a 7-inch single of theirs once, but I sent that off to someone as an act of kindness not so long ago. But never had any of their albums. Even though I've loved their music really from their early days, which was the early 80s, all the way to their kind of renaissance period in the early to mid 90s, where they started having a couple of big UK top 10 hits again, and beyond. And I'm talking about, checking it out, The Human League, and this is a 5-album set. I'm assuming it's 1 disc each, but we'll check that in a bit. And this is their Virgin Years box set. So essentially, we've got 5 albums from the Human League, which is of course by no means a complete Human League discography here, but all of their albums, assuming all of their albums, and they've not missed any for whatever reason, that were released during their time on Virgin Records. So there's going to be no early stuff here before they move to Virgin, and there's not going to be later stuff. I think the latest album on here will be from possibly 1990. It's an act I've always liked, I've always been a fan of, but I've not been a collector of at all, really. I'm looking at the hype sticker here. Can I read this without putting my glasses on? So it's a vinyl collection box set, limited edition set with original artwork, featuring on 180-gram coloured vinyl. Yeah, it was the coloured vinyl that really swung it for me. If this had been kind of a standard black vinyl box set, I would have still wanted it, but I may have held off. But the fact that they were all different coloured discs, yeah, I couldn't resist. And the albums, we'll go through them and have a look at the discs, of course, are Dare, Fascination, Hysteria, Crash, and Romantic. So as I say, this was around £120, £130. It was a while ago when I pre-ordered it, so I can't really remember. Let's get this cellophane off. I don't know if I'll conserve the hype sticker here. With box sets, I don't tend to worry too much about it. I'll use my knife and it'll make it easier for me just to get this cellophane off. Has anyone else watching seen this on their travels? Have you bought it, or have you been interested in it, tempted by it? It's quite a lot of money, as box sets tend to be. But I think for the price it is, with 5 albums, all 180-gram coloured vinyl, I think this was a pretty good deal, really. Yeah, the hype is of course on the cellophane. I will leave it there for now. Right then, let's just take these one by one. So with me not really being much of a Human League expert, there's not going to be an awful lot for me to talk about really, apart from little bits and bobs. We've got the first disc out. I think it looks like they've put these in the box in chronological order. So this is Dare, probably the most iconic of Human League albums in their entire career really. Certainly the cover is. I mean, there's the famous scene in The Young Ones, isn't there, where Rick, played by Rick Mail, is holding this album up and during the house party and asking if anyone here likes the Human League. And then he starts playing it, and then the police come in and smash the stereo up. Fascists, etc. Oh, it is gatefold. It's just going to be a one disc of this. God, it screams early 80s to me, this. Just the design and the makeup of the two ladies, Joanne and Catherine, I think they are. Phil Oakey, of course, is the other main guy in the Human League, and the chap there, I've forgotten his name. I do apologise for that. We've got what is probably a facsimile of the original inner sleeve, but the main difference, as you would understand, well, it's got lyrics on that side, which is nice, and a few production notes and stuff on that side. But the main difference, of course, is going to be the colour. I can't remember which colour was assigned to which album here, so it's just going to be a nice surprise there. So that is, I'd call it turquoisey blue, almost kind of marine blue maybe. I don't know, I'm really crap with colour names. I know the obvious basic colour names, you know, the colours of the rainbow, and then when you get to sort of variants and stuff, that's when I start to struggle. So that's a blue disc or a turquoise disc for the Human League with Dare, which of course this album features Don't You Want Me, which was their big breakthrough hit. It's been covered by numerous artists over the years. Human League themselves have remixed it and reissued it on at least a couple of occasions. Anything else on here that I recognise? Yeah, Open Your Heart, I think, was a single. The Sound of the Crowd, Love Action, and Don't You Want Me is actually the final track on side B. A lot of well-known Human League stuff on there. Right then, let's get on with the next one. So all of these, they're Virgin Years albums, and I'll be pretty tempted to maybe fill in some gaps with a Human League collection now that I've got this. Getting it out a bit more carefully as the inner was sliding out there because of the way they've put them in the box. You can see the artist name and album name on the spine, so if you're getting them out, and they're likely to slide out. This one, yeah, another what I presume is a reasonable facsimile, a reasonable replica of what was out originally, is just a standard album sleeve with a plain inner for Fascination. I can tell what colour disc that's going to be. Oh, it's very difficult to read some of the track names on the back here because it's like sort of silver writing on grey. Keep Feeling Fascination, an extended version. Mirror Man, I think I've heard that before. I think they're the only two tracks on here that look like they were singles. So this would have been the follow-up to Dare. Not sure of the year, but all of this stuff is easy to look up if you so wish. Oh, that's nice. That is certainly in the middle, in the run-out. Very transparent, very translucent green. As I look through it, that's just making the whole room look like some sort of weird neon disco. Yeah, I do like that, but green is my favourite colour. Will it be my favourite of these albums? I'm not going to be able to say until I've listened to them all. As I say, Human League, I know a lot of their singles, but never listened to an album of theirs in its entirety. I don't even think I ever had a greatest hits of theirs on CD back in the 90s or whatever, when I was collecting a lot of CDs, which is weird really, because I did love a lot of their singles. So the third album in here, checking nothing slipped out of there, I don't think so, is Hysteria. I do like the design of this, where it's a gatefold and you open it up to see the full effect of the Human League letter in there. Nice image in the middle of the gatefold sleeve too. Yeah, we've got some track info. Louise, I think that was the single I actually had on 7-inch that I sent out to somebody. Pretty good single that. I don't think it's one of their very strongest though, but I must have liked it quite a bit because I had it for a long time. The Lebanon, I know that was a big hit of theirs. I think Life on Your Own might have been a single of theirs as well. I'm recognising stuff off every one of these albums. It wouldn't matter if I didn't. I'd be excited to discover a Human League album that I didn't know absolutely anything on it. I'd still enjoy listening to that, no doubt. But it's always nice when something's got an air of familiarity to it. So this disc is of course like a solid yellow. Very nice that. These coloured editions are beautiful. I'm really impressed with how they're remaining true to like the original releases, like for instance Fascination wasn't a gatefold sleeve in this because it obviously wasn't a gatefold sleeve originally back in 83, 84, whenever that came out. And whereas this one, which I think this one might be 84-ish, I think, is a gatefold sleeve because it would have been one back in the day. Right then, I think we've got two more to go. And here is Crash. So I believe this Human League album, from my limited knowledge, is when they started trying to kind of capture more of a transatlantic audience, and I think they did have relatively major hits, maybe off this album, in America, and I think, was it Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis or someone? They had some well-known American producers, put it that way, and that helped them gain some traction in America, at least for a brief period of time. But it did mean their sound kind of changed to a sort of more American radio-friendly style. They were still popular over here. I'm going to struggle reading some of this. I'm sure Human is on here, which is, as far as Human League singles as concert, yeah, it is. It's track 3 on side A. Human is one of my all-time favourite Human League singles. I've always loved that song. And Love Is All That Matters as well, which is the last track on side 2. Weirdly, that came out as a single about a year or two after, when they released the greatest hits, around 1987 I think, and it just failed to get to the top 40. I think it was a bit of a mistake for them to put out an old track off of a previous album to promote a greatest hits rather than actually record something new. I'm trying to look for the producers. Yeah, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I was right. I was worried I was getting their names wrong. Once again, this one is a gatefold, as you can see. It's got lyrics and all the usual bump in it. What colour is this one going to be? A plain but poly-lined inner. And this one is, I would say, almost translucent red. I've got my extra lighting that's shining right at it. But perhaps if that wasn't on, I wouldn't be able to see absolutely anything through this. But yeah, that's a red disc, certainly, for Crash. I'm loving this. I mean, I always enjoy a box set. There's just something really magical to me about getting a music box set, particularly a vinyl one. And all the editions are a little bit special, and everything's just, yeah, new. And it's a great way, if you can afford it, obviously, of just kind of bumping up a collection, or starting a collection, really, as I've done here. So the last album in this box set, there you go, it's an empty box, is what would have been their final Virgin Records album, and this is Romantic, or I should say Romantic, as there's a question mark. Still a 5-piece there. I always, because they were really just Phil Oakey and the two girls, the two ladies by the mid-90s, I always think of them as like a 3-piece really, but originally, prior to mainstream success, they had a couple of guys who splintered off into Heaven 17, didn't they? Human League, of course, from Sheffield, not a million miles away from where I am. Do I know anything on here? Heart Like a Wheel, yeah, I think that was a relatively successful single. Not sure if anything else came out as a single on there, but nothing's jumping out at me as anything that I know. So this is probably the year of the Human League, which I think was either very late 80s or very early 90s, this album, that I'm least familiar with. This one is standard album sleeve with a custom inner, and the colour of this is, well, it's clear really, yeah, transparent, clear vinyl there, properly see-through through the run out there, sort of slightly see-through, albeit very blurry through the proper record grooves itself. So that's your 5 Human League albums, all reissued in the one box. As far as I know, I don't think these albums have come out in this new colour format separately. I think if you want these colour editions, you have to buy this box set. Of course, that could change. They could decide, oh, well, no one's buying the box set, but people might pick 1 or 2 of the albums up if we sold these colour editions separately. So they may end up doing that, I wouldn't know. This isn't a box set that's had a lot of hype from what I've seen in the vinyl community, but then the vinyl community is varied and as diverse as it is. There is certain bands who you're going to get a lot of coverage for, like whenever the Beatles put out a reissue. And then there was a Rolling Stones mono box set that was announced quite recently that looks really nice actually. I don't think I can warrant the price. I would like to get into the Stones a lot more, as I think they're 60s mono and they're all coloured editions as well. I think that box set with all their albums from the 60s on mono would be really nice, but I think the price of that is not much change out of £400, but there is a lot of stuff in it, like way more than what you get in something like this. But that's the sort of stuff that gets covered a lot on vinyl community channels here on YouTube. And things like the Human League and other sort of more pure pop acts, you know, I don't want to say they get ignored, because they don't. I do know of other channels who really enjoy their pop music and their 1980s stuff. Hopefully here I'm offering something that's a little bit different and might not be to everyone's taste, because this isn't some psychedelic band from the 1970s or some prog act or a jazz compilation or the usual stuff, you know, something that all the highbrow VC members cream their pants over. But for me, for a pop guy like myself, an electronic pop guy to be more precise, I'm really happy to pick this up because I've always loved the Human League. They're a band, really, I don't know why I haven't collected them before, but if this is going to be the start of a Human League collection, then I think this is the perfect start. And even if it isn't, and this is the only thing I get of theirs, I still think this is a fantastic limited edition item here, the Human League Virgin Years 5 album box set. Thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed this look at this unboxing here on my YouTube channel. I want to say special thanks, as I always do, to my subscribers and my generous patrons. Please see down in my description text box there is a referral link for HMV. If you click on that, you can get 20% off your next HMV order, and it gives me 20% off a future order there as well. And obviously that covers vinyl records, but it covers CDs, Blu-rays, DVDs, pretty much basically anything that HMV's website sells. So fill your boots there. And of course also in my description are my Patreon link, Facebook group link, and one for contents insurance as well. I'm going to go now, and of course I'm going to get cracking onto the Human League box set. I'm going to do this chronologically. I'm going to sit down, enjoy all 5 of these albums, maybe not one after the other, because that would mean I'd need quite a lot of time, but certainly going to listen to these in their correct order and really immerse myself in Sheffield's finest synth pop act for the first time in my life, or certainly the first time in many years, after I enjoyed their kind of 1990s comeback. Much as I did enjoy it, I didn't collect any of their music even back then. And I do hope that all of you will join me again next time for my next record collecting video. Cheers everyone. See ya!